Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today, guys. Today's breaking news is just getting crazier and crazier. We have new evidence that Jim Jordan has that the government has been using bank records working with the Biden administration to spy on Americans. You can't make this stuff up. We just don't know how far this administration has come. That this 46-page report highlights millions of warrantless searches conducted through the government systems in 2023, spying on pro-Trump Americans, guys. This is nuts. On top of that, Jim Jordan says that he is going to make sure that Biden stands before Congress to testify about why they were spying on not just all Americans, but pro-Trump Americans. They looked at their financials, their personal information. This is a huge scandal that they say they're working to reveal their findings to the American people. We also have it where Mike Johnson unveils the plans of using the budget reconciliation to roll back a lot of what Biden's been trying to do right now. Because earlier we reported that they gave $20 additional billion to Ukraine. Well, Karine Jean-Pierre came out and said it's not 20 billion, it's 50 billion. And they're going to pull these funds, this money from the G7 fund. Guys, they literally have pulled money from FEMA, disaster relief. Now the G7 fund. They've pulled money from the defense budget. They have pulled money from almost anywhere and everywhere they could to get money to Ukraine because Congress said no. And they're going through a lot of loopholes. Why do they want to give Ukraine so much money? It makes no sense. We also have it where Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary for Trump, said they're going to divvy up the press room and start involving podcasters, YouTubers like Dan Bongino, Benny Johnson, and hey, maybe TrueLife. I wouldn't mind going over there and asking Caroline Leavitt some questions, bringing the TrueLife News family along with us. But we have a ton of breaking news also on where Trump is at with the administration and Mike Johnson on day one. Because remember, they are got to hit the ground running. They said that we don't have 4 years, we have 2 years because we know that the Democrats are going to be out to try and mess things up and mess up his agenda. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel, guys. And thank you so much to everybody that is a member of the channel. We appreciate your support so much. In less than 2 weeks, we're going to be doing the biggest donation live on channel so that you can see that we are giving back. And thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Lily O'Brien, already for giving a super chat donation. Y'all show Lily some love in the chat. But guys, you can't make this stuff up. The more and more that they are digging, the more and more that we find this administration has been doing some messed up things, not just with our money, but on spying on Americans. Check this out.
A House Judiciary report reveals how banks partnered with the Biden administration to spy on people without a warrant. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan joins me now. You think the FBI was targeting specific groups of people? Like who?
Oh, we don't think. We know they were doing it. So, I mean, first you got the government debanking some Americans, and then we find out they're spying on others. And we know this because a whistleblower came to us and said, after January 6, 2021, the FBI sends an email to Bank of America saying, show us all the debit card, credit card purchases of your customers in the Washington, D.C. metro area on January 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then overlay that with anyone who may have purchased a firearm or ammunition at any time. And they did all that, Stuart, without a warrant. So we know this is happening, and it's now happening at scale. Banks are required under the law, if they see something suspicious, to file a report with the Treasury Department. But what's happening now is the FBI is actually soliciting the information. So the burden is shifted, and the FBI is saying, give us information on customers, send it to us. It goes in this database, and we found out in 2023, 14,000 government officials searched the database without a warrant, and they did so 3 million times. So on one hand, you got them debanking people. On the other hand, you got them spying on all kinds of Americans, all done without a warrant, and that is not how our country is supposed to operate.
Well, the incoming Trump administration is going to deal with that, going to do something about it, presumably. What are they going to do?
Well, I actually think we in Congress need to do something about it. The legislation, the law that has this suspicious activity requirement, I think we need to redo that. It's misnamed the Bank Secrecy Act. It's frankly been turned to anything but that. It's actually the act used to spy on Americans. So I think we may have to look at some legislation, working with either French Hill or Andy Barr, whoever's going to be the next chairman of the Bill Huizenga. They've got a number of people running. Frank Lucas is running. 4 people running for that. Whoever's going to be the next chairman, working with them in the financial services, with the work we're doing in judiciary to protect Americans' privacy.
Yes. Because Adam Schiff was just sworn in as California's newest senator. He says he opposes a potential preemptive pardon from President Biden. He says that's unnecessary. I thought you might have a smile on your face when I was reading that report. So why don't you tell us what you think?
Well, I actually agree with Adam Schiff on this one. I don't agree with him on much of anything, but I don't think that there should be issuing pardons like this. I mean, it was bad enough the pardon Joe Biden did for his son. It was a pardon for a 10-year, 11-month time period for potential crimes. So, I mean, that was something we've never seen before. I don't think it makes sense to do these preemptive pardons. I just think it's interesting that the Democrats are actually talking about this when they went after some of my colleagues who supposedly, I don't think they did, but supposedly asked for a pardon, from 4 years ago when President Trump was in office, and now that they're the ones talking about it. I mean, who knows? But I don't think it's necessary either. I think it's just a wrong thing for the president to do.
I just wonder if Mr. Schiff needs one. Anyway, do you think President Biden will pardon his family?
I do. I mean, I always thought he would pardon his son. I think it's likely that he pardons his brother. During our impeachment inquiry investigation, we saw how this family, the brand, they were selling the brand, a family brand, this influence peddling operation. I assume that his brother gets pardoned at some point as well. We'll just have to wait and see.
A sorry end to the presidency. Congressman.
Guys, it is sorry. It is so messed up that not only were they spying on Americans without warrants, going through, think about this. This 46-page report highlights millions of warrantless searches conducted through the government systems, looking at what we purchased, how much money is in there. It's like such a breach of our freedoms, and yet who's going to be held accountable? That's why, again, too, remember, Trump said, look, I'm not going after them, but that doesn't mean that like Jim Jordan isn't. And I wanted to show you this too as well, because this Adam Schiff guy is the most shiftiest guy. This is a deep stater if there ever was one. Listen to this montage over 2018, 2019, 2024 over what he said he planned to do and then how he feels now. Listen to this.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him. Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with...
I'm sorry, guys. Let me replay that.
The day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him. Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
Y'all hear that? So it's so hilarious that he says it and it's okay, but then when Trump says it, oh no, it's such a bad thing. And it's not even really Trump saying it, it's his team. And then when they want to talk about they've been snooping and spying on Americans' financials, and then you got to look at the Bidenomics financials and listen to this, because I'm telling you, this is just insane where they're trying to go with this.
Joey. All right. The lame duck is fighting to define his legacy, or whatever's left of it. President Biden giving a speech and doing his best to put a positive spin on his economic record, one that most folks will remember for sky-high inflation.
Next month, my administration will end and a new administration will begin. Most economists agree the new administration is going to inherit a fairly strong economy. And also learn something from Donald Trump. He signed checks for people for $7,400 because we passed the plan. And I didn't, stupid.
And
What?
it looks like Kathy Hochul didn't get the memo on the spending and how it caused inflation. The New York State governor hitting the grocery store as she promotes a plan to hand out $300 checks for anyone making up to $150,000.
They will send you a check to buy your groceries for a month or whatever you want to spend it on. I say it's your money, it belongs in your pocket, and it's coming your way.
Okay, lots to get to here. Jesse, is there better?
I'm sorry, guys. You can't make this stuff up. I just want to inform you that, remember, that's the same governor who gave out $5,000 debit cards to illegals and spent almost $10 billion of taxpayer monies on illegals. And now she's like, we're going to give you $300. Hope you enjoy it.
Any better representation of Biden? In the speech, he's talking about rural broadband, okay? And he's talking about how great rural broadband is. And then he was pressed for numbers. How many people, Mr. President, have been connected? Zero. And you know how much they spent? $42 billion.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's just one example.
Right. So as the resident historian at the table, I have a bachelor's in history. That's the only reason.
So do I.
Sam.
Darn it.
Didn't know that.
The third string resident historian at the table. I'm going to give you a non-biased legacy assessment of Joe Biden. All right. This is what history will remember Joe Biden for.
Okay.
COVID got him in office. Oldest president of all time. Afghanistan withdrawal.
Yeah.
Ukraine, illegal immigration, inflation, industrial policy, lawfare, coup, pardon.
Crime.
That's it. That's it. And he'll just be a sleepy little intermission between Donald Trump's terms. Because this wasn't the roaring 20s. You had all-time highs in suicides, homelessness, drug overdoses under Joe Biden. The only bright spot, because I am so fair as a historian, the stock market and Bitcoin. But for the rest of the country, the American dream was out of reach. Not my words. Those are the words of Kamala Harris. And it's because no one could afford to buy a house, no one got a raise in 4 years, and everybody was saddled with credit card debt. Now, the job gains, which I'm sure Jessica is going to bring up, are a mirage. Most of those job gains were snapback jobs from the pandemic, and a third of those jobs were from foreigners. We talked with Halperin the other day, and he said Joe Biden might not even get a presidential library. And now he's saying Joe Biden might not even get paid speaking gigs afterwards.
Who's going to pay him?
Who's going to pay him? So I really don't care about these speeches. He reads this off a teleprompter as people wrote it. It's meaningless. I want to see the final press conference that all presidents do at the end of their presidency so I can see our very own stupid son, Peter Doocy, tangle with the big guy one last time.
Judge, a lot of people will never forget that when they couldn't afford gas and groceries, Joe Biden was out there doling out green energy subsidies to his friends and asking taxpayers to bail out the student loans of doctors and lawyers.
Yeah. And honestly, I hope the next administration looks at the billions that went into green energy. Who got the money? Why did they get the money? Was there any success? Maybe we ought to start suing them if they weren't successful. I believe in that. I'm a lawyer. And by the way, you're in Georgia, you have more corn and cows for neighbors. Can you bring corn the next time you come back from Georgia? All right. Now, I think it's ironic that Joe Biden is taking a victory lap on economics, which was the issue that he lost on. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense, but the man's delusional. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. Look, when Trump was leaving, unemployment was coming down. And by the way, when you talked about unemployment, you talked about more jobs. Did you discount the 800,000 jobs that they overcounted and lied about? I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Mentioned revisions.
Yeah, thank you. You did? Good.
Yeah,
all right.
glad you were
so
listening.
$7 trillion of taxpayer money went into the economy, and that was only because of the 1.9 trillion, I should say, that they never conceded, and they won't acknowledge that created the inflation, which peaked 17 months into the Biden administration term. That's when it peaked. It peaked because of their policies. And finally, you know, Hochul, I mean, she's an idiot. I'm sorry. That's not very nice, but you are. I mean, now you want to give away money? I mean, you know, you just figure this out? I mean, she's like slow on the draw, very slow. That's it.
Guys, I'm telling you, they're trying to give away money like it's made on trees. Like, is that what the saying is? Like, money grows on trees? Let me tell you this. So we told you earlier today's show that they were dispersing $20 billion to Ukraine from the G7 fund. Well, guess what? It's actually $50 billion, straight from her from her mouth. Listen to this.
The United States and G7 are now making good on that commitment. Together, we will leverage income earned from frozen Russian sovereign assets to provide a total of $50 billion of extraordinary revenue acceleration, ERA loans, to Ukraine. This will lend vital support to the people of Ukraine as they defend their country, and it also makes clear aggressors and tyrants will be responsible for the damage they cause.
$50 billion. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. But it all goes back to policy. Like, this is a big thing that's coming, guys. The big changes that's coming is because of the people that's in it. Thank you so much, Nolan Alders. Hey, it's about time he became a member. Y'all show Nolan some love in the chat, everybody. And also to Mr. Tracy J. Norby with the super chat. Let's go. He said Schiff was supposed to be ousted to be the head of the Intelligence Committee, but all his intel was totally wrong, and he lied like his butt wanted to. And Schumer is no different. Pelosi still sells alcohol inside the Capitol grounds. They all work. Guys, y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. I'm telling you, if there's anything that's more corrupt, all you have to say is Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Schiff, Biden's, the whole family, guys. I am so glad for the new administration coming and what you're about to hear next. Check this out.
People are policy. You need to understand that. It's not a cliche. It is an axiomatic truth of politics. The policies don't matter. If you don't get the right people in there, the policy is irrelevant. Folks, there is a law on the books right now, Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, that gives Joe Biden the full authority to exclude any class of aliens for any reason out of the country for any length of time. Please, if you doubt me, if you're a liberal watching the show and you think I'm making this up, go look up Immigration Nationality Act, Section 212F. You can read it. The president can shut down the border right now. He doesn't want to. Well, he's got the policy, Dan. Policy isn't policy. People are policy. This is why we cannot fold for a second on Hegseth, on Gabbard, on Kash Patel. And this is why we need people like Stephen Miller, too. I want you to watch this video of Stephen Miller on Fox, and you'll see what I mean by people or policy. Stephen Miller is going to be one of the lead voices in the Trump administration with Tom Homan and others on moving border legislation quick. This guy understands the law, and he understands how to make the policy real, how to make it breathe, and not just a dead piece of parchment. People are policy. Do not fold. Hold the line on these nominees, no matter what. They're feeling the heat. Don't let down. Don't put any ice cubes on this thing. Check this out.
John Thune and Lindsey Graham have promised that they can get a full funding package for the border, the most significant border security investment in American history, which would be the biggest domestic policy win in at least 50 years, to the president's desk in January or early February. That would mean a massive increase in ICE officers working on the deportation operation that Tom Homan just laid out. That would mean a historic increase in border agents, a pay raise for both, full funding for military operations, full funding for ICE beds, full funding for air and marine operations, full funding for all of the barriers and technology that you need to ensure there's never another Godaway entering this country. Now, President Trump, regardless, on day one is going to issue a series of executive orders that seal the border shut and begin the largest deportation operation in American history. But you're talking about what would be the largest investment in immigration and border security. This is something the Republicans have been talking about for decades, but with Donald Trump, this is something that is going to happen. It will be the most important and significant, as I said, domestic policy achievement in half a century. Then the plan, as Senator Thune has laid out, as incoming Majority Leader Thune has laid out, would be to move immediately at that point, now we're talking in January, early February, immediately to the comprehensive tax reform package.
Folks, we have 2 years. We got 4. No, we don't. We have 2 to the midterms. You have to think in 2-year cycles. The presidency is not 4 years. It's not? No, it isn't. It's 2 2-year terms, and that's not the same thing. Yeah, the math is the same. I get it. It is not. The president needs the House. The president needs the Senate.
Yes.
We have 2 years. The people he's got set up right now are there for success. There are very few nominees I disagree with. The one over at Labor, I'm not so sure I'm fully behind. However, the rest of his portfolio of nominees and the people or policy thing absolutely get what the next 2 years needs to look like, and they understand the way to pull the policy levers to get there. Here's why I'm really excited about the next 2 years. And forgive me, I forgot to mention this earlier, but there is a difference now. I think you guys are feeling it. In the chat, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, say, Dan, that I'm not getting it. Unlike 2016, where I think we really shocked them, they didn't see us coming at all in 2016. They were so shocked, a lot of them genuinely believed something had to have gone wrong, some switch broke in the system. I don't know about you, but I'm sensing now they hate us. They're going to call us racists and Nazis. None of that's changed. I get that. Don't think I'm naive. I'm not. I understand. I get it. I'm vibing with you. But are you sensing that they get that they're not going to be able to pull the same tricks again? Is that making sense? I don't know, Justin. Am I like messing this up? I feel like the resist pink hat routine, like they exhausted that now. And that's why after yesterday's verdict, this is kind of tying together the beginning, you didn't see the response you would have typically seen. Because I think a lot of them are recognizing, like, we're going to have to take a different tact and game plan. The resist weaponization of government thing didn't work. The other game plan they're putting together could be worse. I'm not telling you these are good people. I'm just saying I do think we have a window here, unlike the collusion window last time, where the first 2 years they did the collusion hoax, which bottled up the presidency. I think we've got 2 years here to do special things. And here's why I'm extra optimistic. Get ready for it. Trump is hip to the media this time. He always knew the media were the fake news. He's been calling them that since 2015. That's not new. But he's given so many interviews and back and forth right now that if you sense that he's getting really good at this now, watch. Here's what I mean. He's with Kristen Welker, who, by the way, again, I used to listen to Kristen Welker once in a while on NBC to get a perspective on what the left was thinking. This was not the craziest person on the left. She's totally gone off the deep end. She is now all in with the Rachel Maddow stuff. She cannot give an honest and fair interview. Here she is, but she's not stupid. Here she is doing the back and forth with Donald Trump, and Trump just completely beclowns her and eats her lunch right here because they're just not ready for Trump 2.0. Watch this.
Let me ask you this about January 6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. Ooh. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me.
These guys are just talking, the whole production crew over here. There's 3 of them sitting over there. And they were just saying the same thing that you and I were talking about here. We were just saying, like, you guys in the chat, you agree with me or not? Yes or no? That he's gotten so much better with the media now. You know, in the beginning, he was never a bad interview, but I don't know. Sometimes there was an entertainment factor to it that the tactical factor got lost. Is that kind of making sense? Yeah, like it was kind of like you just said, like an acquired taste in the beginning. Like it was entertaining, but the tactical back and forth and some of the points would get lost. He's gotten really good right now at staying on point and issuing like a devastating counterpoint that comes out of nowhere. You know, what's the best punch in the world? The one you didn't see coming? They just don't see it coming. He's just gotten really good at this. Now, this is huge. I'm going to make a big announcement here too. Well, it's a big announcement contingent on them making a big announcement, if they make one. I want you to listen to this clip first. Because they understand that the press absolutely tanked and submarined their first administration with bullshit collusion hoax stuff, PP tape stuff, the Spygate thing. They get that now. These guys know cutesy time is over. Here's Caroline Leavitt. He's going to be his incoming press secretary after Spicer and Huckabee Sanders and Kayleigh. Caroline Leavitt is very good at her job. Caroline Leavitt is indicating now that they are going to divvy up the press room differently. Here's my big announcement. If the Trump team wants the biggest political live stream in the world, that's our show. If they want to give us a seat in the press room, I, number one, would be honored and would absolutely accept it. But I will hire someone next week. I will let everyone know I will hire a Dan Bongino show correspondent. Folks, we have a bigger audience than the Washington Post and the New York Times. It's totally up to the Trump team. It is not my call. I will take it. We will take that seat for the day.
Guys, let me know how many of y'all would love to see Dan Bongino or one of his correspondents in the press room. I think that would be pretty sweet.
Bongino show. You don't have to put us in the front row or anything like that, although we are bigger than most of these outlets, right? But the Bongino Army, would you not be honored to have a seat in the press room? I know I'd be. We will hire someone. Stataruski, man. I will hire someone. So we'll put him in there. Here's Caroline Leavitt saying, hey, man, status quo in the press room is over, so I'm down for this. This sounds great to me. Check this out.
Any plans to change the way the briefing room works?
Well, let me preface by saying that there has never been a more transparent president than Donald Trump. We saw that in his first term. He consistently called the press into the Oval Office when he was signing bills. He took questions from them directly. That's something the press, I know, is yearning for. They have not had that over the past 4 years. So their transparency and their access to the leader of the free world will be increased, and also to the press secretary as well. We will be holding briefings in that room. I think as far as the landscape of the briefing room, it needs to reflect the media habits of the American people in 2024, not in the 1980s. And President Trump won this election by utilizing non-traditional, non-legacy media voices outside the Beltway. That's clearly who the American people are listening to. That's how they're digesting their news. And I think it would be irresponsible of us not to include some of those voices in the briefing room.
Guys, how amazing would that be? Hey, I'd love to give a shout out too. I'd love to be there and ask some questions to Caroline Leavitt, maybe even Trump. Guys, let me tell you this. So Liz Cheney has now been accused of destroying 117 January 6 files. Why is it that they always, for some dang reason, why is this? Sorry, guys. 117 January 6 files, says she should not go to jail. Why did these files just always, all of a sudden, get deleted? This makes no sense. Rick Robatelli, let's go. Y'all show Rick some love in the chat. Member 2 months, let's go. And guys, y'all got to forgive me. I got like some cold or something, some congestion. It's that time of year. The weather's changing. It's crazy. But check this out. So, not only has she accused of destroying 117 January 6 files, well, guess what? The Trump Shooting Task Force says DHS, Secret Service, haven't produced the documents on the golf course incident. So, what's going on? Why can't we get the information? Why does it always seem like something's being hidden and we can never find the truth? Like, it literally blows my mind that we continuously find this. And on top of that, guys, I'm telling you, what's happening at the border is so insane. And what they're now being held before Congress. And we got our boy, John Kennedy, who goes after him because he's another pit bull. Listen to this, because this is accountability at the highest level. Check this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Arthur, you are with the Center for Immigration Studies, is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And that's a nonpartisan think tank, is it?
It is, sir.
Okay. The border is an open, bleeding wound, isn't it?
That's a fair way to characterize what's been going on for the last 4 years, sir.
The southern border is chaotic by design, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I've been covering the border for 3 decades, and yeah, it's pretty chaotic.
Wow.
Would it be fair to say that the broken southern border is man-made?
It would be fair to say that, sir, based on policies that have been implemented.
And that man's name is Joe Biden, isn't it?
That would be a fair assessment, yes, Senator.
Under President Biden, if you wait in line for legal immigration, you're a chump, aren't you?
When you look at the benefits that have been given to people and the speed at which they've been released into the United States, I would be chagrined if I were waiting.
You're a chump, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
General.
Yes,
You
sir.
believe in open borders, don't you?
I believe in the rule of law, sir.
Right. And it makes you angry that President Trump does not believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Senator, I'm not here to discuss immigration policy. I'm here to discuss whether or not we use the military to enforce it.
And it makes you angry that most Americans don't believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Not in the slightest, sir. Again, I am not here to discuss the immigration policy.
Yeah. Duty, honor, respect, you talked about that
Yes,
in
Senator.
your opening statement. On October 14th of this year, you went on CNN. I want to read you what you said. Make sure I'm accurate.
Get him.
Here's what you said. President Trump is not like any sane leader. I'm very proud of General Milley for saying that President Trump is a total fascist. To Bob Woodward, if he, as chairman of the Joint Chiefs, is calling the president a fascist, I'm so proud of him for breaking that barrier. The challenge is because most MAGA Republicans, they don't understand what fascism is. The reality is that they are, in fact, fascists themselves.
Wow.
Did I read that accurately?
Senator, I am happy to discuss my personal perspectives with you separately at any time. That's not the purpose of the hearing today.
Did I read that accurately?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?
Absolutely not, Senator. I am here to discuss the use of the military as part of this mass deportation.
You think you're more virtuous than the American people, don't you, General?
Senator, I am insulted by your comment.
Duty, honor, and respect. You talked about that in your opening statement, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Moran said, I wrote down her words. She said, by their actions, you know what someone's character is like. You agree with that?
Senator, for 35 years, I served my country with absolute honor and distinction, and I will continue to do so.
You agree with what Ms. Moran said?
Of course.
Mr. Got a few minutes left.
23 seconds.
Well, actually, you let Ms. Klobuchar go well over, so I'm assuming you'll extend me the
I'll
same.
give you the same minute I gave to her.
You gave it a minute 20. I timed it.
You're using.
I watched you like a hawk, Dick. Mr. Melnick, Mr. Reichlin Melnick, you believe in open borders too, don't you?
I do not, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay. On November 1st, 2022, you tweeted, both Texas and Louisiana have their knives out for black immigrants. Do you remember that tweet?
I don't, but it's quite possible.
What Texans, it's not only possible, it happened. You're not denying it, are you?
No, I'm saying, referring
What
to the
Texas?
context.
Who
I
are you
actually
talking
don't
to?
know the
Who are you
context.
talking to about who in Texas had their knives out for black immigrants?
Guessing the context, but my suspicion is
Give
that
me
it
a
has to
name.
do the
Give me a
Attorney
name.
General Ken Paxton and
Give
the
me a
Attorney
name.
General of
Give me a
Louisiana.
name.
I just did.
You don't have a name, do you?
I just said Ken Paxton.
You don't have a name, do you? You just said it, did you?
Just said Ken Paxton.
All right, how about Louisiana? You said Louisiana has its knives out for black immigrants. Who in Louisiana were you talking about?
Again, I'm not certain. That was 2 years ago, and as I'm sure you know, much has happened in the last 2 years.
Well, did you say it?
Again, I do not remember the context.
But you don't.
Senator
You
Kennedy.
said somebody had their knives out from Louisiana for black immigrants, but you don't know who they were. You just said it.
I said the Attorney General of Louisiana and Texas, and I believe this referred to specifically lawsuits brought and arguments that were made in court that the arrival of Haitians
I'm out
and
of time,
others
but I
were
want to get you
inherently
on the
dangerous,
record.
which was
You
not.
Thank you very much, Senator.
believe
Appreciate
that the
your
Attorney
questions.
General at that time of Louisiana had his knives out for black immigrants. That's your testimony.
Given their
Thank you,
litigation
Senator Kennedy.
conduct, yes.
Guys, I'm telling you, it is getting heated in Congress right now. But I want to show you this too. Deanna Scott actually brought this up. There's a lot of crap going on right now. Y'all been hearing about these drones that have been coming across. Oh, I want to show you this real quick too. Now we know why Matt Gaetz left Congress. He's going to do a show. This dude's going to be joining the OAN primetime lineup. But I wanted to show you that just so y'all know what's happening with Matt Gaetz. But check this out. So I want to show you this. So this is China's using military drones that are disguised as birds. Look at that thing. Guys, you would not know that this was a drone. I wouldn't know. I think it's just a dang bird. Listen to this. This is so messed up of what's happening because there's drones being flown everywhere. We don't know who they are. Our FBI team couldn't even catch one to try to figure what's going on. It is literally absurd. They're spying on Americans. Crap is happening. China's got these bird drones. And listen to this because you're not going to believe it.
What is going on in New Jersey?
So, sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are
The loving and tolerant left is at it again, Pierre.
Drone flights. But we're actively investigating. What the Bureau has done to aid our state and local partners is what we generally do, enlist the help of the interagency, enlist the help of the public. There's a tip line there, that 1-800-CALL-FBI, tips.fbi, for information from the public that could help us resolve this. It is.
You mean to tell me the dang FBI has got to get help from regular people to figure out where these dang drones are coming from? And with all the money and all the technology they have and all the personnel, they got to open up a tip line to figure out if these are spy drones. Remember that spy balloons that flew over the United States for no telling how long? Guys, if this isn't corruption, I don't know what it is. Tina M., welcome to the TrueLife News family. Y'all show Tina some love.
Concerning.
Is the public at risk? Is public safety at risk? Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions that could cause either national security or a public safety incident that would put Americans at risk?
There's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that. But we just don't know, and that's the concerning.
Guys, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. The FBI, with all their intelligence, cannot figure out if these drones are China, are they residential, what they are. But you know what? I keep loving it because Donald Trump keeps dropping the good news. Look at this. Any person or company investing $1 billion or more, and there's a lot of them, in the United States of America will receive fully expedited approvals and permits, including, but in no way limited to, all environmental approvals. Get ready to rock. You heard about them spending $42 billion on charging stations, and they've only built like 7 of them. Y'all have heard about that, right? So check this out. $42 billion on the trying to get everybody like high-speed internet, right? The reason Trump put this thing out that I just showed you is because when you have these types of headlines, people need to see it. How politics hung up a $42 billion by an internet. They spent $42 billion to get people high-speed internet, and they got 0. Why? Because of all the permits, because of all the stupid regulations you have to go through to just get things done in America. That's why Trump said what? Anybody that wants to invest money into the United States of $1 billion or more, we're going to expedite those approvals, expedite those permits. We're going to make it so you actually can get things done. That's why it's so important to deregulate, because America spent $42 freaking billion of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars, and not one person got internet throughout this whole endeavor. You cannot make this stuff up, but guys, this is how horrible the management of money and the administration is with money when it comes to just anything that they do. Government sucks at doing stuff. But what I love, it's not just Trump. Listen to this, because Lara Trump, she's about to make some things happen.
Anything like MAGA in the history of this country.
Meanwhile, RNC co-chair Lara Trump has announced she is stepping down from that position. As speculation grows, she may be called upon to fill the Florida Senate seat, soon to be left vacated and vacant by future Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Lara Trump joins us now with more. Great to see you, Lara. How are you?
I'm great, Sean. What a great interview by Donald Trump, by the way. He laid it all out there. He also made sure that he reminded the American people he is not going to take his salary this time around. Don't forget, he didn't take his salary the first term in office. People often forget that about Donald Trump, but he really showed exactly who he was. And I love it. Success will be the retribution and revenge that everyone's talked about.
And this is what drives me nuts about the media. He said it over and over and over again. Now, I would argue that Joe Biden, you know, when he leveraged $1 billion taxpayer dollars to get a prosecutor fired that was investigating his son and this energy giant called Burisma, and that he financially benefited based on Hunter's own words, that would be something that would be worth investigating and put before a grand jury. However, how many times does your father-in-law, the president-elect, have to say, I'm not interested in that, for people to believe him?
It's a great question. And I think the proof will actually be in the pudding. I think once Donald Trump takes the oath of office, gets in there, and people start feeling it, Sean. That's the thing. That's what really happened in this election, is that you can't tell people that their life is great when their life feels really bad.
Yep.
And so that's why so many people couldn't go out and vote for Kamala Harris, because they said, I can't vote for 4 more years of this. In much the same way, even the people who didn't vote for Donald Trump, you heard it from him right there, are going to start feeling their life heading in a better direction. Life is going to become easier, more affordable for you, safer for you. And by that, I think a lot of people are finally going to realize, man, I was lied to about Donald Trump. You know, all the things they said about him might not have been completely right. And yes, he will be a president for every American, whether or not you voted for him. And I think it's a great thing.
Let me ask you, so you stepped down as co-chair of the RNC. You did a great job. You had told me privately, and I think you said it publicly as well, that you were in this for one election. This was not going to be a permanent job for you. There has been a ton of speculation that you might be on a short list. I've not spoken to Governor DeSantis about it in terms of replacing Governor Rubio. Have you spoken to him about it? Or, is it anything would you want to be on that list?
Well, I'm honored. Yeah, I've heard the same rumors you have, Sean. Imagine that. And it's an honor to be even mentioned on this list of people who are, incredible patriots and have done incredible service for this country. You're right. I did say when I took this job that this was not something I wanted long term. In fact, I actually like the idea of accomplishing your goals and then leaving, allowing someone new to come in and moving on. That's exactly what I want to do with my life. And we did accomplish all the goals that we set out to do in this election. Obviously, Donald Trump has been reelected as the 47th president. We have a majority in the Senate. We have a majority, albeit small, in the House. We prevented the cheating from happening. We restored election integrity. We got low propensity voters out. We had people voting early this election. And we really have a great blueprint for how to go forward in the future. And I know Michael Whatley, as the chairman, is going to continue there, and he's going to do an incredible job with whoever the co-chair is. But yes, of course, it's an honor to be considered. And I have not talked to Governor DeSantis about it. But if he calls me, if he asks me to do it, I would certainly think long and hard about it. It is a big consideration, but it is something that I truly would be honored to be asked to do ultimately.
You're a better person than me. I'm a full-time resident of Florida. Not that I'd be on anybody's short list for elected garbage men or elected anything, although I am a piece of garbage according to Joe Biden. But I would absolutely, positively say, hell no, not interested. But if ever asked to serve, I think it would be great. You'd be a great senator. Let's see what happens. We appreciate you being with us, Laura.
Guys, I'm telling you, there's things moving. But I just wanted to report something because it just broke. And this is really messed up with what I'm about to show you. Representative Nancy Mace was physically assaulted. They just reported this like 11 minutes ago, guys. It just happened. By a pro-trans man at the Capitol tonight, resulting in injuries requiring medical attention. This is pretty messed up. This is... Whenever it results to violence, that's whenever I mean, there's people who say stuff all the time, verbal abuse and all that, but violence is over the line 100%. Remember, she's the same person that came out whenever I think a congresswoman, or I don't know, but this person who is trans got elected. First, it's a man who's transitioned to be a woman, and wants to use the women's restroom. Well, Nancy Mace said, like, heck no. Mike Johnson came out and said, heck no. Men's bathrooms, women's bathrooms. And every single congressperson has their own personal bathroom. Jeff Davison, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Jeff some love in the chat. And Nancy Mace actually came out with a bill that to solidify it, to say, like, look, this ain't happening. She said, I'm not sharing a bathroom with a man. And then now she's been assaulted. This is really messed up. But what I just want to say this too, like, there's a lot of, remember whenever Mark Cuban came out and said that Donald Trump doesn't surround himself with strong, intelligent women? Nancy Mace, Lara Trump, Heisenberg, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. I love it. Y'all show Heisenberg some love in the chat. You have excuse me, I don't know why, Alina Habba. Alina Habba is now going to be the counselor to the president. And I love it because she's not stopping there, guys. He is surrounding himself with some very strong, powerful women. And it is 100% what we need. Check this out.
Stand, Alina Habba is next. Lots of news here as Trump cabinet picks have been swarming Capitol Hill, all meeting with senators from both parties. And Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, RFK Jr. will be up there next week. But of course, the left's already coming after Tulsi Gabbard, smearing her with the same tired lies they used against Trump.
Tulsi Gabbard is almost a perfect product of Russian information operations.
Maybe under Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and President Donald Trump, Bashar al-Assad could split his exile time between here and Moscow.
That's so funny. Joining me now, Alina Habba, incoming counselor to the president. Alina, congratulations for your upcoming appointment. They're also accusing Tulsi of being an apologist for the now, who's the man who's fled Syria, of course, Bashar al-Assad. But it looks like both with Tulsi and with Pete Hegseth, this stuff doesn't seem to be sticking. Am I reading this right?
Are you saying that perhaps they could create a dossier or say that there's a Russia hoax and continue it for years on end? I don't believe it, Laura. Yeah, no kidding. This is what they do when they're desperate. We know this. These are really strong candidates with really amazing backgrounds. It's amazing to me, especially, that they're picking on the people that have served our country in an amazing way. I mean, look at their history, Tulsi and Pete Hegseth. And then they say, oh, well, of course you pick somebody who's from Fox, or of course you pick somebody who had a picture with Putin once. Well, what exactly do you think their jobs were? Their jobs were exactly that, to have relationships, to form them and to fight them and to fight for the American people.
Yes.
That doesn't make you a sympathizer with our enemies, but this is the narrative. We're used to it, Laura. You know, just buckle up. We're just getting started. But yeah, they're fighters, every single one of them, and we fully back and support President Trump's picks.
And Lindsey Graham, who, people were wondering which way he was going to, go on some of these nominations, but he said today that he thinks these nominees have, quote, turned a corner, Alina. And he also said that the longer they basically stay in, they hang in, and President Trump said to Pete, fight, fight, fight. The longer they hang in, the likelier it is these confirmations are going to go through, even if some of the hearings, as Cornyn said, might get ugly.
That's right. And I think that President Trump's been very clear that he stands behind his nominations. He has said that. They're out there on the Hill talking to people, sitting down, going through the confirmation process, answering tough questions in person, allowing people to get to know them. That's what we do, unlike Kamala, for instance, who was just appointed, by night in the most undemocratic way we've ever seen. That is not the way we operate. They are using the American system, our Constitution, the process, the separation of powers correctly. And President Trump has urged them to let people get to know why he selected them. Because when they sit down, they will understand, and we are seeing a turn. Every single one of them. I know Cash is on his way out there next week to do the same. And that's only so that they can expose themselves, because they have nothing to hide. His nominations are amazing. I have no doubt that they will all go through.
And people who are actually going to truly shake up a system that is rotten to the core in many ways, and that's a threat to them. Alina, I also have to say Chris Landau as Deputy Secretary of State, Harmeet Dillon as Assistant AG for Civil Rights. Harmeet, they're going after her because what else are they going to say? A Sikh American who is an amazing, brilliant woman, also a dear friend, I have to say. But these are just great picks, great people. And Alina, we're so happy for you. Congratulations. Come back soon. Don't be.
Let's go, guys. I'm telling you, the team that we're getting is going to be amazing. And I want to go back to this real quick of Jim Jordan claims government is using bank records to spy on Americans. In new report, 46-page report highlights millions of warrantless searches conducted through the government systems. Guys, we need new leadership. We need to clean out the swamp. Mr. Norby, love the super chat. Let's go. He said, put this to the cause we spoke of yesterday for the kids. TrueLife News. I love you, brother. Flush the swamp out of government. Deep state needs prison for investigating in contempt of we the people. Let's go. Y'all show Miss Miss Norby some love in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you, flushing out the swamp, putting them all out. Why? Because of this type of stuff. They're literally infringing on Americans' rights, taking away, and we don't even know. There's people that don't even know that this happened. And it's just so messed up that if it wasn't for people like Jim Jordan, John Kennedy, Josh Hawley, these true patriots that go out and they fight for the truth and they show the American, just like I showed you earlier, Chris Cuomo was like, why are you doing these investigations? And Jim Jordan's like, the people need to know the truth. We cannot continue where the people's rights are being infringed upon and they have no idea. They need to know who's doing it and to hold them accountable. 100%. I love it. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news, guys. It's free. I do 2 shows a day, Monday through Friday, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Guys, and thank you so much to everybody that is a member of the channel. Y'all been killing it in the chat. Hey, Mr. Norby got me earlier, man. Y'all too much sometimes. But guys, it's less than $1 per month, and we use that money to give to charities. We've given to Isaiah House. We've given to Samaritan's Purse. We've given to Wounded Warriors. This month, we're going to give the biggest one ever, guys. It's going to be so amazing. I'm so excited. And guys, I'm just so thankful for every single one of y'all for all your support. And if you don't mind, if you can click the thumbs up like button, it really does help to grow the channel, guys, so much. Thank you so much, Lily O'Brien, Nolan Alders, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Ricky Robitalia, Tina M., Jeff Davison, Heisenberg, Camp Goer 1. Let's go. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. We've had an insane day of news, but we are here for it. We show you the breaking news as it's happening every single day, guys, to make sure you're informed. We are here for you. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.